how many snaps did they run in the 14 personnel?
That's only for us.
100% of the snaps.
What's going on, guys, and welcome in to an episode of Dynasty Keep Trade Cut. This is one of the first ones of the season for 2022, and we are joined by a very special guest, Heath Cummings of CBS Sports. What's going on, brother? Thanks for being here.
Very happy to do it. Sounds like a good time.
Yeah, man, this should be good. So for you guys who are watching, I'm sure you saw the title, but we are breaking down a keep trade cut that's going to be really interesting. It's three guys that are fairly young, right, kind of in their prime, but they're in different situations. So we're talking about Michael Pittman, Chris Godwin, and Elijah Moore. So what are you going with these three? I know we talked about it off the show. Like, how are we going to decide who to cut here?
I thought this would be easy because you'd send me a keep trade cut, and the guy that I liked the least would be the cut, and the guy that I liked the least relative to consensus would be the trade. And then I'd keep the other guy, and it'd be great. And I see this list, and I'm like, well, I like all three of those guys more than the consensus, I believe. They're all like 5 spots apart in my rankings, all in my top 20. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, you know, I couldn't make it too easy. I had to pick guys that everybody's at least a little bit excited about, right?
Exactly. Yeah. But I think, like, for me, I would still probably go with the same strategy. I know I'm going to keep Chris Godwin because I think he might have the upside, if he's 100% healthy with Tom Brady, to be the wide receiver 1 in full PPR. I think he's that league winning guy. And it seems like his value is being negatively impacted by the ACL injury a little bit more than what my perception is that should be. I don't really feel like there's a big risk that he's going to miss like a fourth of the season or something. And I do think, especially without Antonio Brown there, that he has could be the very best wide receiver in football. He could have the Cooper Cup season. Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on him coming back? Do you think he's going to be back week 1? Or if you had to guess or kind of put your stamp on amount of games he might miss early, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I have absolutely zero information, and I'm not a doctor, so I will be very helpful in answering this question.
Yeah. It's Heath MD, right?
My guess is that unless something goes wrong, Chris Godwin will be ready for week 1. I think the timetable gives him enough time to get there for week 1. Maybe he's a week late, and maybe he has a setback. Like, that's certainly possible. Yeah. You'll watch those hamstrings very, very closely the first couple of weeks of camp. But assuming that he gets through camp okay, I would assume they will slowly ramp him up. He'll come off the pup, I don't know, a couple of weeks before the season starts, and he'll play week 1, maybe 60% of the snaps or something.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so then what are you doing with the other two?
I think I have to cut Michael Pittman. And I love Michael Pittman. I'm definitely higher on him than I am on Elijah Moore, but I think I can get more in trade value for Elijah Moore, and especially because, like, these guys, and it's one of the things I talk a lot about in my trade chart. There's probably 4 to 5 teams that would be interested in Chris Godwin right now. It's the guys that are really competing. And Elijah Moore is going to be more appealing to those teams that are rebuilding and looking to hit it big with a possible potential wide receiver 1 in the future. And I think Moore does have that kind of upside. Pittman's kind of somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure that he really has that upside to be the number 1 wide receiver in fantasy. I think he'll be a good number 2 for the next 5 years, but there's always that risk, and there's the risk with both of them. I would be more concerned about Michael Pittman if the Colts actually went and added a number 1 wide receiver than I would be Moore. I think Moore could still be a borderline number 2 with someone else. I'm not sure Pittman could.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. And Pittman's one of those guys who I was excited when he came into the NFL. I thought he could have been, he could be like a special talent depending, where he lands, what that system's going to look like. But especially we kind of talked about it already, but what that Colts team is probably looking to do isn't going to be passing the ball a ton. And I know a lot of people are like, yes, Matt Ryan, he's a huge upgrade. I don't think Matt Ryan is an enormous upgrade. I will say he's an upgrade, but we're not getting peak Matt Ryan. At least to me, that's what I think. And so this whole experiment that the Colts have been doing of whatever old kind of somewhat proven quarterback is, well, we'll just take him. I don't think that's going to be sustainable. I think that long-term is going to hurt Pittman more than people are liking to admit at this point.
Well, I think one of two things is going to happen. They're going to continue with these quarterback struggles and never really give him a good guy, or they're going to say, no, the problem with our passing game is Michael Pittman's not a true number one, and they're going to go get one of those and bump him down in the rotation. So, yeah, I mostly agree with you on Ryan. I was shocked to see that efficiency-wise, he's actually been worse as a passer the past 3 seasons than Phillip Rivers was his 3 seasons before joining the Colts.
Yeah, it's one of those things where you see the end of year totals and you're like, Matt Ryan's doing fine still. Don't worry about it because he's throwing for 4,000 plus yards every year. But it is one of those things that as you like actually dive into what he's doing, you're like, okay, this isn't as pretty if you're watching game to game, pass to pass, play to play, what's happening here.
Absolutely. And it's going to be a low volume attack as well, just like you said.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So I'm going to jump into, or well, actually, did you say who obviously you're cutting more.
No, I'm cutting.
Or you're trading more. You're trading more.
I will trade more and it will hurt me, but I can find at least one other guy in the league. I've got him a couple of spots higher than consensus. I think I've got him at wide receiver 15. I can find one other guy in the league that believes in his upside and talent. I just need to do it in the next 6 days in case the Jets go draft a wide receiver.
Yeah. So, man, Moore is one of those guys who I am really high on. I've loved his talent at Ole Miss. I love when he was coming out. I was like, hey, he's going to be the guy who surprises a lot of people. And what the Jets have done is they've put together a decent offensive line. I think Zach Wilson is still going to be able to take some more steps here in his development as a quarterback. I think he's going to surprise some people this year. The Jets offense as a whole, I think, could surprise some people depending what they do. I think they're one of those teams that has to add a piece, and I think they're going to do that either through the draft or through trade. Obviously, today people are talking about, Debo has asked for a trade kind of deal. And so who knows whether it's Debo, DK, any of these names that are out there, if they make a move or if they take a guy at 10. But I think he's one of the guys, and I think you kind of alluded to it earlier, where even if they add someone, I still really, really believe in Elijah Moore. So that's a hard one to cut. I came down to him. Well, I'll tell my guys in a minute, but that one hurts me a little physically.
Absolutely. But I'd rather trade him than cut him. At least I'm getting something back. And like I said, I think you get more for him than you would Pittman. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so all right, to sum it up, you are keeping Godwin, you're trading more, you're cutting Pittman. I'm going to share mine now. So I am keeping, and this is probably not a popular opinion, but I'm keeping Elijah Moore. I am trading Michael Pittman, and I'm cutting Chris Godwin. And so here's my thought on this right now, and maybe it's because we're stuck in the offseason Twitter echo chamber, but Michael Pittman's hype is insane right now. And I think right now what we're seeing is Chris Godwin, a lot of people aren't valuing him like they should be. And so if I'm going on what I actually think their values are, my answers change a little. But when I'm going on what I think is actually what you're going to be able to do in a league and what you're going to be able to kind of get, I think Michael Pittman's trade value, as crazy as this sounds, is actually higher than Chris Godwin's is right now. Things can change. Things will change. I almost guarantee it, where it will align, I think, a lot more with what you were saying, where Chris Godwin should be the most valuable player of these three. But I think right now, Pittman is a guy that I think you can actually get a lot of trade value from. And he is, he's got the youth. He doesn't have the injury that people are kind of worried about with Godwin. And then with Moore, he's just a guy, like I said, I really believe in him. He's a young talent. I believe in that offense and kind of where it's going, which sounds weird to say about the Jets. But it's something that I really, really like there. And then it kills me to cut Chris Godwin, but I just don't think you're able to get peak value for him. And I like the long-term trajectory of what you're going to get from Elijah Moore, even if, the next year, maybe 2 years, you're going to be kind of like, Godwin's probably got him beat right now.
Yeah, and I'm keeping, I guess, the old guy in Chris Godwin at 26 years old. But if you were not trying to win a championship this year, then letting Godwin go probably makes the most sense. And he does have the most risk right now just because he's coming off the ACL.
Right. What do you think about, and we'll wrap up here in just a moment, but what do you think about long-term Brady? Do you think he's going to be around for the next 2 years, or you think this might be it?
I don't think anybody has any idea what he's going to do. Like, apparently he was trying to organize some Miami takeover or something. Sean Payton's probably going to want to come back next year. So I don't know exactly where he's going to be, but we don't know for sure where Chris Godwin's going to be either, I guess.
That's true. He just keeps getting the tag.
Right. So I just think that he is talented enough, and he's still probably got 3 to 4 years of the peak left.
Yeah.
That I'm not going to worry too much about Brady. If Brady's gone, I think he'll go be a stud somewhere else. He was a stud before Brady got there.
Yeah, that's a great point. All right, guys. Well, thanks for diving into our first episode of 22 of Dynasty Keep Trade Cut. Drop your comments below. Make sure to follow Heath on Twitter at Heath Cummings Sr. and follow me on Twitter at Marco_14P. Heath, thanks so much for being here, man. Do you want to shout out anything that you're working on right now or anything people can be tuning into?
No, I'll just say thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun, and we'll do it again soon.
Awesome. Sounds good, man. All right, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Peace.